Hello, Warriors. Pretty dead morning, huh? Pretty quiet. How you doing, Sinatra? And Mike and Bran? Who am I defending you against?
Um, Dale, there is nothing going on today. It's
Yeah,
boring. Boring.
yeah, yeah. There's no volatility.
None.
Uh, yeah, so I don't know. I'm going back to bed, man. Hey,
Eh.
Ryan, James. I'm retiring anyway off being short in the video. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say if you got a bunch of puts on Nvidia, you might actually be retiring. We might be losing
uh,
Dale today.
yeah, I might be that, what's that, FU money?
Yeah,
When
Dale's gonna
people
be
make
he's
it.
gonna be he's gonna be just throwing dollar
Uh,
bills, y'all, all over the place.
yeah, so come over. Anyway,
So Dale, I mean, I want to make sure everybody understands why Nvidia is getting crushed. I mean,
all right. Well,
I
go, tell
mean,
tell me.
I mean, everybody realizes that, with this new China AI, this DeepSeek, that
Yeah, they don't
it
need
was
their chips.
if you read about like what they've done without NVIDIA chips, and they've made,
Yeah,
basically AI more efficient with
right.
cheaper
I read
chips.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like everybody's looking around looking at Nvidia and all these other, concurrent type of companies and saying, well, shit, if you can build, if China can build,
yeah,
AI better, faster, cheaper, whatever, and not use, all of these high-end, overpriced US components, why do I where's the valuation proposal right now for Nvidia? And it's not saying that like Nvidia is not a good company, or but I mean, people will go,
they're
well,
not a monopoly anymore globally.
no,
That's
exactly.
what
And
happened. Yeah,
exactly. And so that is really, really weighing on the tech sector this morning. And you're seeing stocks. You think about like Amazon. I just happened to, I was pulling it up in our chat room. I mean, Amazon was at all-time highs
yeah.
on Friday.
That's what
You know,
Apple did to shorts. Did the same thing when Apple topped Blake up here.
yeah,
There was really no sign. You just had you had one bad day, and you go, well, I don't know, see if it could bounce, and it
right.
never bounced. Okay, so it almost, the market kind of topped the same way. The S&Ps actually, wasn't a bad week. It was a great week last week, right? And the feature everyone knows there's risk off. I'm pretty impressed that there's no, safe haven bid on euro or pound, only a little bit in Aussie, of course, a lot in yen, but that's maybe some
Yeah.
support. But that's because look at yields just dropped on this.
Right.
So
Hey, all you guys are commenting in chat, and all I want to say is it wouldn't be such a big deal if like AI was developing and, valuations were different. But considering the fact that the stock market has had back-to-back 20 plus 30% returns basically the last couple of years, and these
three,
stocks are so richly valued, you're seeing the air come out of them. And that's the bottom line. And now you don't know how far they could really come down. And that is the issue, especially we have Mag 7 earnings this week. A lot of companies. We have Apple earnings this week. We got Amazon. There's I believe Microsoft. I have to go look and go pull up my notes again on exactly what companies are reporting. Fortunately, Netflix beat last week, but there's a lot of companies reporting this week that this is where the rubber meets the road, right? And if they don't report good earnings, we could be in for a real shitstorm later on this week.
probably a lot of people trapped the way it did top by just there was no reason to, you know, expect this after the week that it had and yields were starting to drop. So there's a lot of people trapped, at
Oh
least,
my God, there's so many. Like,
but
I'm sure
they
there's
don't
so
feel
many.
trapped. But they don't feel trapped. It's no big deal. I'm
Well, they
telling you,
don't, and
right?
they might be sweating a little bit, but they're like, well, I'm sure stocks are going to bounce this morning as soon as
Right.
they open. You know what I
Or
mean?
yeah, it's just a short-term thing. No one's,
Right,
it's,
right.
but VIX, uh, if you recall last week, I talked about the gap fill in VIX, and Took a few days for it to do something, but I put in this little dot. We filled it here. So yeah, uh, I don't think this is going to fade this one like these did. I think we're, you know, on our way to take, this out. Um, I follow this foundation of cycles. I see them every once in a while, and they were looking for a high at the end of January, and then a pretty negative February. So they're thinking peak here, down into March, and a bounce, and then a final low in May. And maybe it's going to take until mid-year for uh, Powell to recognize they better get the bazookas out. What do you think? I mean, he
Well,
has cover now, right?
I mean, he does, and I think there is a risk that we could actually see lower rates.
Yeah,
People are gonna start talking about rates getting cut again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll flip. Anyway, it this convinces me more than ever, even if there will be rallies in the dollar. This kind of measured 105, but we could bottom any time here and rally back towards the breakdown, or even 108 wouldn't even change it. But I think this really was a signal for a lot of things last week. Um, and I think it's just starting. And if you guys want to figure out how, like Welsh comes up with, Jimmy comes up with 96, all you have to do is go the weekly, and it would be a move of equality. You'd have equality. This was 1400, so 1400 from 110 gives you 96. So that's how I come up with his target. So it's really just starting. I mean, look, people thought, oh, I didn't sell the top. I missed it. I missed it. They had a month to get short before the acceleration. So if you get another dollar rally, um, it could be a great shorting opportunity if we're going to have something like this happen. And we're probably going to need this to happen. Or, I thought about it. Everyone, people go, well, why is there going to be a lower dollar besides what you see technically? Everyone wants one now, including us, right? There's de-dollarization. They want the dollar to lose favor. There's, you know, uh, as far as the dollar, we want it so we could export more. Emerging markets really need it, and so it makes it less expensive to uh, pay the interest and the debt with a cheaper dollar. So I don't see what the forces could be against to for us to have a strong dollar, unless equities get to the point where we like have. I mean, to me, this is like a little bit of a mini crash. But I'm talking about if this goes on for a while, um, or we have one big panic day, that could be when people go back into the dollar. But
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you, Dale. And I know we got K-Man back finally after a
oh,
week of missing K-Man, and we got Ryan here too. So I don't want to step on their
but
toes here, but I do want to say that, with the dollar breaking down, I think that you're right. I think the dollar the move from here is down, but unfortunately, as as people get hit with tariffs or as countries get hit with tariffs, the dollar is going to have bounces. And I think those are bounces you sell into.
yeah,
Like overnight, like the euro pulled back and I bought some euro overnight when it was down at 104.60 last night,
yeah,
104.68 or something.
nice,
And yeah, I
nice.
spun out of it this morning, but but that's the type of thing that we're probably going to see a dollar weaken. It's just not going to be an easy uh, straight road with a straight line, especially with President Trump, and I think he's pretty serious about tariffs. You can see it in what happened with Colombia overnight, and Colombia, kissed the ring, bent the knee, and he got what he wanted, and that's the kind of thing we're going to see. I think we're going to see, countries come to the negotiating table. He'll get what he wants, or get at least get to negotiate, and then tariffs will subside or disappear, or whatever the case may be. But whenever he enacts a tariff, you're going to see dollar strength in that region or in that specific currency and then then fade. But I think overall you're exactly right. That's what he's looking for. He's just looking for a weaker. They want a weaker dollar overall. So
Yeah.
and
Well,
and to
yeah.
reiterate, you're right. As far as long as the market doesn't panic, we start getting down like down 20%. That's when the dollar goes risk off. I always use that as a benchmark. Like whenever everybody starts talking bear market, that's when we're down 20% plus in equities. People start going, all right, I don't want to own anything but dollars. And that could be an issue, especially if we do it quickly, you know what I mean? Like panic, as you were pointing out.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's the other way that people don't want U.S. dollar denominated assets, which has
Yeah. I
been
mean,
that was been a big part of the demand for the dollars, right?
sure.
Our market, our stock market. So if that goes away, um, people might hesitate to come back to our market if we get a like 20% sell off,
Yeah.
which I think can happen
It could. Yeah.
into like OPEX in March. So that's what, kind of I have mapped out in my head. It'd be, we could probably just break out this megaphone, even though we're recovering. Uh, well, there it is. Okay, there's your, top of the line, and here's the megaphone line with confluence of weekly moving averages, a little under 5,000.
Yeah, and by the time we get down there, if we do get down there, the
Yeah.
200 DMA is probably going to be close to that vicinity.
Yeah. And then I think then we could really, the melt up that a lot of people are talking about,
Hmm.
then I think it could happen to 7,000. Because
Yeah.
this will clean out all the Johnny come lately longs of the last year or so. And get your shopping list ready for that event if it happens.
Well, Dale, do you mind if I take over the
No,
charts and have a little discussion with the boys?
I'll say hi to him. Hi, hey, how are you, buddy? Ryan, Kay,
Morning, mate.
welcome back.
Morning.
Hope your trip was successful. And go ahead. Go ahead, Blake.
No, I mean, well, I just want to welcome these guys back, and
Yeah.
let's start with Ryan, because Ryan, you've had your the flow show going this morning, obviously, but what are you seeing from your point of view as you got up this morning and you go, oh, geez, what are you seeing?
Well, as I said at the start of the show, another quiet morning. Nothing going on, no
Yeah.
volatility, absolutely nothing. We're,
Yeah.
we're, we're 27 days into the first month of 2025. We're 7 days into Trump's presidency, and it's bananas already. So, yeah, long may it last.
Yeah, I mean, hey, and let me just reiterate, the best way to take advantage of volatility is check out the trader funding program. And if you want to learn how to get instant funding, that means don't even take an assessment. If you're not US based trader, make sure you check out the trader funding program. You can find it right on our website. But yeah, it's the best way to take advantage of volatility. So what are you focused on? Because the yen pairs look pretty heavy today.
Yeah, they've got a bit beaten up. Finally got a break of that 155, and it went properly. We got a bit of support here down in right around that area. As you can see, it's tagged your 50 there,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much on the money. I cautioned at the end of the flow show about everyone getting too bearish about all this. Yes, we know that tech stocks have been running very, very hot. This is a potential reset in some of those high prices. What it means for Nvidia's, does it mean they're going to be disappearing off the face of the planet today? That's not true. I'm already starting to see a lot of tweets and analysis coming through that even if this deep seek stuff means that they can use lesser processors and whatnot and chips and older chips, it actually could mean that it would increase the usage of those chips, i.e. you still need more, because if you can do a lot more for less, you can expand even further. So it's not the end of the world scenario that a lot of people are maybe leaning towards this morning. So I'd be careful getting too bearish about this, but let the US open, cash open, go under the bridge and see where we are later on.
And I agree. This just brings out competition, but valuations are so lofty, and that's and
Yeah.
there's three. And I talked about this during the week ahead video. The three biggest positions when you talk about positioning in the market: long Mag 7, which is obviously Nvidia is thrown in there, right? Long US dollars, which you can see the dollar is even, taking a beating today, despite, NASDAQ being down 4 or 5% or whatever it is pre-market. And then short, treasuries, US treasuries, which, at this stage in the game, you're seeing yields come down and you're seeing treasuries bounce. So you're seeing an unwind of like some of the most aggressive positions, and you can see that inverted head and shoulder pattern. We discussed that on the week ahead video. So I mean that is the bigger issue, right? It's the positioning, the richness of valuations, and a story like this that could disrupt a little bit and maybe take away some of the US exceptionalism story.
Yeah, I mean this what's the likely outcome? Probably a bit of rebalancing in the chip sector. If you've got firms who are making chips that are not quite up to the same spec as Nvidia, well, now they don't need to be. So you get a bit of rebalancing. Those stocks might suddenly start lifting up as Nvidia comes down. But even this DeepSeek thing, it's using Nvidia's chips, just the older stuff. It's not using its own chips. It's not getting other chips. It was using Nvidia chips. So that doesn't rule out Nvidia wipes off the face of the planet, as I say. But yeah, and we're in Fed week. We're in central bank week. It's a big week, so there's going to be plenty going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hear from K-Man, because we have not heard from K-Man in a week, and I'll speak for everybody here. We missed you, K-Man. Good to see you.
Thank you. So kind of you.
So what's going on? What I mean, you've obviously been away, but not away. I mean, you were away, but I'm sure you've been paying attention to things as you normally do. What's your thought process here as you see all of this happening and you're coming back to this mayhem?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, it does look like Trump's waving with all the tariffs is bringing people to the table. We've heard from Colombia, China is willing to take some undocumented immigrants back. So, but this other stuff about DeepSeek is we've been chatting about that in the room as well, and I think it could end up being. If it is really true what they can do, because we always need to take everything with a pinch of salt, which comes from there. But if it's true, it could end up being quite deflationary. And I think if that kind of feeling would get into the market, then it's likely going to weigh on yields in some way or form. And yeah, that may in turn then weigh on the dollar. Now, the question will be, but we don't know that today, but the question will be, and that was what Dale was talking about as well, does that mean that everything done in the US as advanced technologically, they are there and putting like billions in there? Is it going to be a case that the rest of the market loses a bit of faith in US companies, but not only US, don't forget that TSMC is there and uh, companies across the globe who are contributing to this AI and tech explosion. Is the market going to say, well, this is all too expensive for what it really is? And in that case, you are going to see a bit of the value of the dollar being eroded, I think, over time. But it all remains to be seen, as Ryan already said as well. Is it going to push people to do more and better? Then it's going to be a temporary thing. But there's so much to unknowns right now. But I can understand why, and I would even say this may last. until somebody comes up and says like it's complete horseshit what the Chinese did there, and it's a fake or whatever, which it doesn't seem to be right now. But it could be that this situation that we're seeing now is going to last for a few days, because who says like it's going to take you less than $1 trillion or $500 billion, but it's going to take you $1 billion or $2 billion. All those valuations of those companies are far too high right now, and it could just mean that um, over-invested people are going to divest, not divest, but rebalance their portfolios a bit. So yeah, it could have at least an impact for a few days. But then we'll need to see how hard Trump and his mates and all those who produce those chips are going to fight back against it. So for the time being, I think it's a kind of logic move, and now time will tell.
So let's talk a little bit. Thank you, K-Man, and let's talk a little bit about Colombia. So Colombia, the whole situation, uh, sending planes back, and then Trump saying I'm gonna tariff the crap out of you 25%, then it's gonna tack on to 50%, and then they're like, okay, forget it, bring back the immigrants, we're fine, we'll take them. And then he's like, okay, that's on hold. Did that tell you guys a lot about exactly what his intentions are with tariffs? Which also makes me believe that we are at risk. This is the 27th. February 1st happens on a Saturday. So on Friday, kind of got to be careful with open positions in Mexico, especially the peso. And you can see the dollar mex is actually stronger this morning. Mexican peso is weaker, and the Canadian dollar going into the end of the week. What do you say about that, Ryan?
No idea. I'll wait and see after the Bank of Canada on Wednesday.
All right, one step at a time. But do you have any thoughts about what you saw when you got up and you're like, oh man, what's going on with Colombia? And this is
It's
crazy. I mean, what
again,
do you
this
think?
is a piecemeal thing. Okay, it's over illegals and whatever. The same as it is with Mexico. The same as it is with Canada. In this 1st of February tariffs that he's going to slap on. It's all small stuff, and it's stuff that, as we found out, can get solved relatively quickly because Colombia folded, as you saw, and likely and Mexico already said they're going to stop immigration, and Canada as well. So it's easily solvable. We're not into the trade stuff yet. That's the big stuff, and Trump has still shown that he's maybe going to set out on a bit of a softer path for the likes of China. And he may do so for the rest of them. But Mex is still in the situation we were talking about dollar Mex last week. If you wanted a bit of a front run for the potential for Trump to drop some trade tariffs threats on Mexico, then you got the dip to scale into. I prefer to maybe wait until I got a headline and try and sell a rally up to that 2080s again. So you can be positioned. Dollar CAD in the same boat. We've been set in this range 143, 142.70 up to that 144.70, 145s. I think it doesn't matter what the BOC do, what Trump does, you just trade whichever way it goes. It either holds a range or it breaks. And if it's going to break, it's probably going to go. So it doesn't matter what the reason is, the catalyst is, you just trade what the price does.
Dale, I know you like megaphone patterns. What do you think about this one right here?
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, dollar CAD came into that megaphone this direction. Technically, it should break that direction. So, but we'll have to get past this next week, right? I mean, we'll have to get past on what people are
Yeah, well, if the dollar
happen.
does bounce and it's due, then we might be completing this first wave, and you get a bounce in the dollar. Canada might make that new high, that level you were looking for. It's possible.
Yeah. Anyway, hey K-Man,
Go
so what
back
do
up
you
there.
what are you thinking real quick? I just looked at the time. Sorry, Dale. I just looked at the time and
I'm hunting for Pedro, and
oh,
I
okay.
think he confused the days, but I'm still working on it.
Okay. Let us know. Trump or Trump. K-Man. K-Man.
FOMC. Oh, do you compare? No, I don't have I don't have enough
You
hair.
have like
It's
the
not
opposite
orange.
personality.
No, sorry. It's still early in the morning here for Dale and I. So what are you thinking, K-Man, as far as these threats and Trump policies and I mean overall?
Many moving parts, and but what I expected, we did this little preview, remember, at the end of last year for what may happen this year. It's kind of the pieces are starting to fall into place. So that's a lot of threats and perhaps a bit less really aggressive on tariffs, just to but yeah, threatening with them to get people around the table, and he seems to succeed. And yeah, that may be a bit of a danger for the dollar. But again, I would say selectively, because there's one thing that I was thinking this morning, and I actually reduced my position. You know that I'm in a very long-term silver long, right? And this DeepSeek thing is making me think about this, because if you start to try for cheaper ways to do something, you may also um, try to do cheap to get cheaper for like EVs and stuff. And I'm not sure whether gold or silver should be bought in the same style as the rest of the dollars being sold right now. Because if you say that cheaper products are a bit deflationary, there is very little reason to be really long gold or even silver for a while. So I'm going a bit cautious on those two, and I know that Dale is always looking at those two as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dale, I don't know if you're looking at for Pedro still, but what do you have
I
any
am.
thoughts on silver?
Yeah, I still think we could trade 28, 27,
Mm.
and I think that happens when the gold silver ratio peaks, which I have a target of right around 93. So I think there's a big opportunity in silver down there.
Mm.
Where I've seen Elliott counts where this whole thing is that the first blast was one, all of this mess for 6 months, these huge ranges and failing at resistance, that we would complete a wave two of five down there, and that should be the home run ball wave from 27 to 40.
All right. Well, speaking of Elliott
Uh,
wave counts, just so you guys know, if you follow Grega on social media, like on Twitter or on X,
oh, okay.
he
He's
is actually
bearish.
skiing this week. He's out skiing with his family, but he's updating his charts on ForexAnalytix
Yeah.
even while he's out skiing. So if you guys want to, get a good Elliott wave count on silver or any other of the 30
Yeah.
assets that we cover, you can actually look at them right here and see what Grega's thoughts are.
I
So
always feel better when after I put a trade on, and I go and look at Greg's stuff and it's confirming what I'm doing. And
yeah,
always
yeah,
feel and always give my positions a second look. Always look at what the other side can present, so that you're aware of what's going on, not only your own narrative. So very important to do intelligence gathering with people whose work you respect. It's
absolutely.
gonna make you better. Great traders talk to other great traders.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick, we got a couple of minutes before well, Dale's still looking for his for
I
Pedro.
have a feeling he's not going to be.
Okay.
I think he
Well,
was affected by when I was hacked, where it showed that I was blocked to him, and he goes. So anyway, we'll see.
okay.
Yeah,
We'll reschedule them. But let me go around the horn and let's ask what you guys are thinking as far as this week goes. Like for me, I mean, we do have four central banks meeting. We have, the Fed, we have the ECB, we have the Bank of Canada, we have obviously, and then we have South
Rich,
African Central Bank, Reserve Bank, and then we
Rick's
have
Bank.
what's that?
Rick's Bank.
Oh, did I miss the Riksbank? Riksbank is
Yeah.
meeting. Oh, sometimes I trade the US dollar Swedish krona, sometimes I don't, and maybe I should start trading a little bit more. Seems like a pretty good dollar proxy right now, the US dollar Swedish krona. But anyway, we'll
The
we
euro
could.
proxy.
Oh, what's that?
It's a euro proxy.
Yeah, yes, I know. Just, but it also trades very closely to the dollar index. Well, I guess which would make sense with what you're saying. But what I also wanted to say is that we have a lot of big earnings this week with Mag 7 companies. So that is, in my opinion, that's probably going to be one of the biggest movers for risk. Is going to be what we see there, and that you start with Wednesday. I think. Wednesday, let me just confirm. Wednesday, we have Microsoft, Tesla, Meta, and we even have IBM on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have Apple and Amazon. So Apple, Amazon, and some other companies too. So yeah, we have Apple, Amazon, um, Visa, MasterCard, Caterpillar, big companies like that too. So a lot of big potential movers this week. Ryan, what is your big thing that you're looking at this week that you think we all should be paying attention to?
Well, there's lots of big things.
Yeah, lots of big things.
So
The biggest.
I think the Fed. I think the Fed is obviously going to be the biggest because like we're saying today, the dollar's looking very, very weak. But if Powell comes out and says they're going on pause for an extended period and that hikes are on the table, well, your dollar ain't going to be so weak no more. So this first round of central banks in the new year is always or can be some of the most important meetings of the whole year because it really sets the market out for at least the first half of the year in what central banks are going to do, because what they decide now is likely going to carry over for the next few months.
Gotcha. All right. Well, the Fed is going to be, and a lot of people have been talking, and we were discussing this at the very beginning of the show. A lot of talk of interest rate cuts could come about, following this week, especially if we have a really, really negative week in the markets. K-Man, you have anything that stands out for you this week before we button things up?
Yeah, the thing is, it's probably going to be too early for the Fed to react to whatever happened over the past day or days. And
Sure.
on those results, they won't be taking into account either, or they won't see the effect yet either of those. Everything that happens on DeepSeek and the tariffs wielding just of late. So we may be in for perhaps a few good surprises on results, and those may be moments that we could take advantage of if the stock rally and perhaps counter trade just a little bit. That is somewhere how I look at it. For the rest, trade as it comes, I say.
All right. And guys, one of the things that's happening this week that I think it's worth noting is Wednesday morning. Well, actually, it'll be Tuesday night for those of us that live in North America, and late Tuesday night for you guys will be the inflation data out of Australia. This is, the central bank that's basically held the line and has not cut. And if inflation comes in weaker, which is not expected, this reading, but if for some reason inflation comes in a little weaker, the Aussie could be in trouble because the Aussie's barely been able to get off the floor here, and we're at a major support zone. If you look long term, I mean, this is major support zone that we've been discussing. This big shaded area, but
Good eye.
but if the inflation comes in strong and it's strong, people might go, well, maybe the RBA won't be cutting. And with
then
all
you'll
the
have a
stimulus,
false breakdown if it gets above there, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
we start getting above 63.50, and we
Yeah.
could actually see a hell of a squeeze. And looking at what the dollar is doing right now, the dollar index is a broad index. It is a risk for dollar Aussie bears, excuse me, because a lot of people have been anticipating that the RBA is going to start cutting in March. So, well, that I think is going to be a big one this week for those of us that are around. Jean-Francois says the euro yen for the year. I mean, hell, we just rejected triangle resistance in the euro yen. So, maybe the euro yen will be be coming under a little bit of pressure, somewhere around here. Anyway, Dale, anything last minute things that you're looking at this week with all these big earnings coming out? Anything that you got your eye on?
Yeah, I have nothing I could say that, things that I was looking for are happening. So the hardest part for me is to let them happen and don't interfere with something, you know.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
hard, especially when something goes in your direction and you're like, you want to pull profits because it's profits, but
yeah,
it's the right trade longer term. It's hard
yeah,
to not be able to pull a bunch. I mean, I got a bunch of puts right now in equities,
yeah.
on a bunch of individual stocks. I've been writing some puts, or buying puts, excuse me. And so as a result, I'm don't want to just take everything off right at the open today, but I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
with
I
you.
do. I
Yeah.
understand, especially with options. Kind of a rule I keep is if you have a double, you sell half of them and you have a free trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well,
basically money management and you take all the risk out of it.
yeah,
So,
it's especially I've been trading some of these buying puts that expire in June. So,
oh
and
yeah,
they're going to
I'm
be up
out there.
significantly this morning. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't, I'm
Well, you
gonna
could always take a sacrifice, five of them to the option god. But
Yeah,
I would
well,
say the most important thing is right now in this environment, is that pros know how to lose, so they have money left to be right with.
there you go. They
That's the most important advice I could give as vol increases, besides perhaps reducing leverage. So you're not trading with stops that are too tight, that are going to just be, food for the algos.
Great idea. Great ideas and great words of wisdom, Dale. And guys, I just want to mention that, to jump in the Forex. No, there's one chart I wanted to bring up. This is in our general chat room. You can see actually K-Man had posted some charts just a few minutes ago. But I want to go to a chart that uh Jor he pulled up today, and he just noticed the they're very, very similar charts that we've seen here in the
Look at that.
S&P to 2022, what we're seeing right now. So, and remember, 2022 was a kind of an ugly year, for the S&P, and it wasn't like it wasn't a nasty year, but it was a year that everybody was bullish, and then we had we sold off pretty good. So this is a chat room where it's obviously the Forex Analytics chat room, but you can, we're talking about everything that's happening in the markets, not just what's happening in currencies. Obviously, where I'm throwing up charts of stocks. We have an S&P room. We have a macroeconomics room, which is called the Flowonomics room. There's a lot of different places for you guys to be in, and it's a safe place for traders. You don't have to worry about being trolled. We don't talk politics. We don't talk, about religion. We just, we talk about what's moving in the market, and it's a great place to be. And you can see charts like this where Jor, he had a good eye here, and I think it's worth noting. So anyway,
That was a very good eye.
yeah, yeah.
And you
So
know what? If you have trader friends or people that, they know you trade and they're interested in learning how to trade, and you really don't have the temperament for being a teacher, send them here. They'll learn. And that's a wrap, everyone. Good hunting this week, and uh, we'll find some themes that we go with, and we'll see if the S&Ps could end up being 100 handles higher by the close today. Anyway, we'll see. See if this is the big test to see if they could bring it back, because they did leave a gap. So it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. But the dollar bear has started. Okay, today's more evidence. That's 3.5% in Nasdaq, and euros came back from the initial sell-off. You know, gold
yeah,
isn't coming back. Gold didn't come back. Silver tried to, but it didn't. Silver takes out 30. I think 28 is last week's low. Blake, silver will have Yeah, that right. Under there, you can start looking for the lower levels. Shows up better on a daily.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. So
That's all right.
that's a 4 hour.
Yeah.
Here you go.
All right,
There's
same thing. Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Under that, new lows coming, I think.
Ooh, God, that would be ugly.
With everything. I think we may have like liquidation and a lot of stuff between now and sometime in March. It's not that long, 6, 7 weeks of this. And then, you know, Fed should bring its put back into it. So anyway, learn how to be short. People only get used to buying. I know I short more than I should. It's my proclivity, but um, try it. Learn how to be short things. A lot
Yeah.
of people just want to buy things. Get used to a bear market. I know we haven't seen one in a while, but it's not always, although it has been for 30 years, buy the dip. It may not. It may be sell the rip.
Yeah. Yeah. Might
So.
be.
All right. Well, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. It's too bad we didn't get to hear Pedro before the Fed meeting, but I'll set it up for Friday and we'll see what his reaction is to Powell.
Sounds
So,
good, buddy.
all right, guys. Thank you, Ryan. K-Man, glad you're back. Everyone, thanks
Cheers.
for
Thanks, mate.
hanging out. If you like what we're doing, the way to say thank you is subscribe. Adios. Have a great day. Team will be in the morning edge in a half an hour or so. So join so you could join them on the morning edge. See you guys. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Coach.
Adios.